Bay Area. Warriors taking on the Nuggets. So we'll be watching that scoreboard and checking out the standings as much as possible. Rob, I'm going to start with you. That loss last night to the Warriors, it's a possible first-round matchup. I saw you sitting there courtside in the good seats. What were some of your takeaways?
You know, when you watch that game, it's so good to see a game, especially a game like a potential playoff matchup, and you see how they play one another. You know, you see how aggressive Draymond plays LeBron. You see how Jimmy Butler was just kind of, you know, surveying everything. But also you saw how Luka could take advantage of them in the post, but he only did like once or twice. It's almost like he said, you know, I'm going to save this just in case we have to play them. And for me, you look at little nuances like that within the game. Where are the mismatches at? And even though they had a great shooting game in the Warriors, I'm still not worried about this team if we have to play them because they did a lot of things extraordinary in this game. You know, Jimmy Butler didn't have a good game. I feel like the matchup would favor the Lakers big time.
Yeah, I think the game, you know, the Warriors in their most successful run, strength in numbers was one of their, you know, kind of monikers. They had it on the T-shirts. That was really what they leaned on. Not just the greatness of Steph, Clay, Draymond, but the depth. And the matchup last night reminded me that both teams share in a little bit of that now. And I think the Lakers have evolved into that type of group where, sure, there's LeBron and there's Luka, but Austin Reeves has taken a big jump into the third best player on the team. But then there's the additional guys that have the opportunity to impact winning on a nightly basis that are more than capable of allowing the Lakers to bring considerable depth into a playoff matchup against the Warriors. It wouldn't be just LeBron and Luka versus the Warriors players. It would be a Lakers team that has versatility, both offensively and defensively. And I think last night shows how entertaining that matchup would be, but we know how much it's going to change over the next week and a half.
So 6 games left, right? 5 are considered very tough. Lakers heavily favored tonight. So you need to kind of capitalize on this one and then get set for those last 5 games. Because, Rob, frankly, the Lakers haven't fared well against some of the worst teams in the league lately.
You talk about the Hornets. You talk about the Jazz.
Brooklyn Nets.
Talk about Brooklyn.
I mean, the Bulls are playing better basketball.
Yeah, the Bulls are playing better basketball. But I look at this game as a game where, we go out and we execute some things. We do a little game plan, and then we out by the second half. There's no reason for you not to put the foot to the pedal and just roll over these guys like they're speed bump because they basically, calling the season. You name me one guy on the team that you can name, like who he played for. Who he played for. And for me, it's a time for LeBron to, get some rest. We always talk about load management. This is one of those games where, you go out and you execute. You don't play around. You don't try to take logo shots and dazzle the crowd. You go out and you beat them down so guys like Knecht, guys like, whoever is, can get some minutes and play. Because I think Knecht, he didn't play last night. And they played a zone. And I'm like, dude, you got the zone buster sitting right over there.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's one of the guys you got to keep him fresh. You got to give him some game minutes because you're going to need guys like him. Because Vando's getting his minutes, Dodo's getting his minutes. Everybody's getting minutes, but the one key guy to me is going to have to be this guy because you're going to have to need some shooting sooner or later.
Matchup-wise, I think tonight, with so many guys out for the Pelicans, the regular season has changed. When we play, which I know it sounds like when we played, like it was a long time ago, it was different, where there were nights where you literally knew you could go out and step on the gas and eradicate anybody you played that night. It was just one of those nights. But the amount of threes that teams shoot, whether it's the Lakers and or their opponents, it changes how you can kind of go out and just get a separation and keep it. And so that's the challenge tonight, is how to stay focused possession by possession so that by the third quarter, maybe you're up 15, but you're not necessarily trying to blow them out right to start.
Good point. Let's get you live to Lakers reporter Mike Trudell, who's first on the floor. Michael, I got a lot of rings on the desk, breaking it down wisely.
That is lots of rings, no doubt, and some interesting information for sure there. And I think that is kind of the focus, as Fish was just saying, and I put that to JJ. So this is a New Orleans team, maybe the only one left the Lakers are going to play, where the organization is probably focused a bit more on next season than now. But the players don't usually care about that. The guys that are out there, and especially when they see the purple and gold on the other side of the court, they are going to play hard, and the Lakers need to be ready for that. So that's where we started with JJ, and then we got into some LeBron talk as well after LeBron had that excellent second half against the Warriors. Here's JJ.
You think back to the game we played in New Orleans. Obviously a different team, but we had our guys in the lineup, and we were down early, didn't come ready to play, and they had I know there's some interchangeable parts. We now have Trey on our team, but it's a similar sort of setup, and they're playing a similar way. They're crashing, they're cutting, they're driving, they're looking to attack the rim. So we have to be ready for that level of effort and force.
Sorry, and just wondered, just LeBron kind of looked like the three-point stroke started to come back, and just physically what he was able to do in the second half. Was that encouraging as he keeps building up towards the playoff push?
Yeah, it was encouraging. I think the biggest thing was just the aggressiveness, doing both, putting pressure on the rim, and the shooting was great, and that's a big sign, because he's turned down some shots lately, and he's been so good all year at both, and we need him as a driver, and we need him as a shooter.
JJ, with Rui, is that this is just part of his kind of return process?
Yes.
All right, there's JJ Redick, guys. So, look, interesting game tonight, and the Lakers, every single one, of course, Chris McGee, matters from a standings perspective, as does scoreboard watching, which I know you are doing on the side. Some big games tonight as we determine where the Lakers are going to be heading into the postseason.
All right, thank you, Mike. Keep it here for Lakers and Pelicans. Dorian Finney-Smith and the bench were golden on Monday, a little rusty last night. Doe scored 20 against the Rockets. The entire Lakers bench scored just 7 points against the Warriors. Doe in the second unit will look to bounce.
Won that head-to-head as well. So, Geet, maybe some hand-wringing after the loss last night by Laker faithful. Maybe some consternation. I don't even know what that means, but I think it means angst. Bottom line, the Lakers are still in pretty good shape. If they do tie a team, the odds are they will have that tiebreaker against that team. Houston really the only team that the Lakers have a little bit of work to do to make sure they ensure that they do get that tiebreaker.
All right, Perez, second night of a back-to-back. We've had a lot of them, it feels like, over the past month. And maybe you're surprised, maybe not, but Luka and LeBron look like they're both available.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe LeBron would sit this out, second day of a back-to-back, but that shows you the value of a game like this, even though the Lakers are heavy favorites by 15.5 points last I checked. And here's the good news. If you look at all the active players and how they do on the second game of a back-to-back, look at number 1 and look at number 4. That's pretty good power right there. You and I have talked about this a lot this year because the Lakers are good on those second game back-to-back situations. 4-1 here at home. And that, to me, is always one of the marks of a championship contending team. How much depth do they have? How much talent do they have in the first place that they could be equally strong on that second night? And it feels like they have a back-to-back every other series right now, twice a week, 3 times a week. It's a little crazy how many back-to-backs they have had just since the calendar turned to March. And they still have one more. They're going to go to OKC this weekend, and they'll play them twice over 3 days. And after that second OKC game, they will play in Dallas on, you guessed it, a back-to-back. But that man right there, you know he's trying to improve upon his shooting effort last night. He was not happy with himself. Took accountability, which I appreciate. Said, I've got to be better. And he's out there shooting just like he usually does. Likes to come out here about an hour, maybe 45 minutes before tip-off and get loose and put up a bunch of shots.
All right, Perez, number 3, the Pelicans. Seems like all their best players are out. What's their injury report? And seems like they're sliding. Although the Lakers, we were just talking about, they haven't fared very well as of late against some of these lower-level teams.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking to Jared Vanderbilt in a little bit. I can't wait to ask him, hey, you've got to take this team seriously, even though they are 14th in the West right now. And this is a ridiculous list, Geet. I mean, you've got basically their starting 5 right there. You've got Herb Jones out, C.J. McCollum, Trey Murphy, DeJounte Murray, and, of course, Zion Williamson. And then, Jordan Hawkins was making a nice case as a sixth, maybe seventh man for this team. He's out as well. That's 7 guys right there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who they put out there tonight. I'm looking at Bruce Brown right now. He's shooting for the Pelicans. He made his way to this roster. He was on the Nuggets a few years ago when they won the championship. And Geet, one last thing. The Pelicans have their own AR. They've got a guy named Reeves. Spells it a little different. First name Antonio, a young player out of the University of Kentucky. He's been getting a lot of time with the starters. We'll see what he does. AR against AR tonight.
All right, Brez, you got a good suit on. You got a new haircut. You're looking great down there. Let's try to get a win, all right, before you come back.
Let's make it happen.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn tô tượng nhá. Tượng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là máy chiếu. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu tô nhá.
Nhớ là cái trung bình là cái tán đúng không?
Màu tím đầu tiên nhá, màu cam đầu tiên. Chủ nhật này cũng ngoài á, chủ nhật này cũng đi á. Đi Thanh Hóa.
Gia định là không đi nữa, tại không muốn nghỉ học. Mà đi học lớp văn hóa chán.
Điểm xuống một bé điểm xuống hơn gì bao giờ tải hết thì điểm xuống.
Không. Tao tại tao mới văn đúng không? Nhưng mà lại thì cũng được. Để cho nó vui cho nó vui lại chơi.
Tao với Thành đang định là tối chủ nhật hai chị em cày đến 11 rưỡi.
Ôi anh không điện.
Thì nó bảo là nó thức đêm